Hi, today I wanted to talk about self-doubt and those kind of negative voices that can, be in our heads and telling us that we, are not good enough or don't deserve something, or we're going to screw it up, or, we've got it wrong before, so why is it going to be any different this time? And, when those things are, really chattering away in our minds all the time, they can become very loud, and we can start to really believe that they're real and true, and they can start to we can almost embody them in fact. It could be that, you get a pressure in your chest or a knot in your solar plexus or your belly, or your throat could be, feeling swollen. Mine's very sore today, by the way. I'm really struggling with a sore throat, which is nothing to do with anything except just a normal bug. But anyway, when we are having negative beliefs and self-doubt, it can feel really heavy and weigh us really down, and it becomes something that's almost bigger than us. And so I want to really talk about a practice and kind of talk about a way of, starting to turn that round. So if you've got beliefs that have kind of built up over time, built up over a lifetime, or built up from certain events or things that have happened in our past, they've got bigger and bigger, and they've been reinforced and reinforced and reinforced. And then our subconscious has sort of taken over a bit. And we might know rationally that I can do this, but then something else kicks in. And then there's all kind of chemicals that go off, and signals that are going into our body from our brain and back up again, and they're not the signals that we really want to be listening to. There's a lot of work and talk about Polyvagal Theory at the moment, which is really, really interesting, and it talks about the sympathetic nervous system, which is kind of fight and flight mode, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is sort of ventral and dorsal. And ventral is the kind of mode you want to be in. You want to be connected and flowing, connecting to yourself, connecting to, that feeling when you just feel good and you can say all the right things, and you just feel open-hearted and ready for the world. You light up the room as you walk in, that's the ventral. But, when we've got negative beliefs and we've got self-doubt going on, and these voices that are coming wherever they are, and these feelings, that can send us into, it can either send us into fight and flight when we get anxious and, just do things, start getting a bit hectic and our mind goes, or dorsal, which is when we kind of shut down a bit and withdraw a bit, so kind of don't really want. Fight and flight is great if you're being chased by a tiger, or it's a big car accident and you need to act really quickly and you need, really quick response. And but you don't want to be in that every day, so if you're starting a new job, or you're in a situation at work where you're feeling, I can't do this, and it's too hard, and I don't deserve this promotion, or I don't feel that, I feel that someone else is better than me, all that stuff. Patterns keep repeating. You're in a relationship and you're thinking, oh God, this pattern is repeating itself again. And then, the chances are you've got a stuck negative belief, and you kind of need to go in and meet it. It's coming up. Certain situations are bringing it up to the surface, and it's kind of saying, hey, I'm still here. You might have thought I'd gone away. I've been quiet for a while because there haven't really been any situations that triggered me, but I'm still here. And you know what? I'd really like some healing. I'd like some attention. I'd like some healing. And if I can have some attention and some healing and some compassion and some empathy and someone to be with me for a little while, I might eventually kind of process and then integrate. And then I won't come up so often, or perhaps I won't come up so strongly. So how do you do it? How do we do this? It's a bit of a process, and it takes a bit of practice. It's, practice, I guess it's called practice because it means, we need to practice, like meditation, or, any of these other ways of shifting the things that hold us back in life. So what I recommend doing is, really tuning into yourself. Whether you want to do a meditation first and really get into your inner body, inner feelings, get yourself really rooted to your seat or your chair, your feet, just feeling really rooted to the floor, focus on your breathing, start to calm your system down, start to get into that ventral system. And then, you just want to you want to be connected to yourself. And then you're going to ask that negative feeling to come up, so it might be that you need to bring up a memory or the situation that you're in at the time that's really triggering you. And just think about it for a moment. You could listen to some music that brings it up. Could be a smell of a particular scent or something like that. I don't know, whatever's going to trigger that emotion. And just remember, you're in control here. So you can allow it to go as far or as not as you want. So whenever you feel it's enough, then stop. Or, go, okay, I'm here, I've allowed enough in, that's it. And you want to do it really gently. You've got to be really, really gentle with yourself, always in these kind of practices, because if you go into strongly, you're going to really upset your system. And the idea is that we want to process our emotions, we want to go to these difficult places, but we don't want to traumatize ourselves in the process. There's enough of that's probably gone on in the past. If we're doing inner work, probably know a lot about trauma and how to heal ourselves from that. So you want to bring up this negative feeling, this feeling of I can't do this, or I'm no good, or I'm whatever. Someone else is better than me. I'm not. There's something wrong with me. I don't know. Whatever they are, whatever it is. And then just bring enough of it up that you can feel it. And that is, let's kind of give that a name. And you can give it a name of your small self or little self, your hurt self, the hurt, wounded, in pain, crying out for some love and attention and healing. So in my case, that's little Claire. And little Claire is inside me, and it's feeling in my top of my stomach up to my solar plexus. There's a knot. Feels like someone's got a bit of a vice grip around it, and it's, kind of wah. I'm hurting. It's an old wound of some description. And then I'm going to also I'm going to tune into Big Claire. So the Big Claire that I am now, and you want to think of the things that you're good at, or something where you feel in that ventral state where you just feel I'm in my flow, I light up the room, I'm, everything's a bit tingly and warm and yummy and lovely, and I just feel connected to the chair or the ground or the earth, and I feel good. So that, and it could be, a hobby or a, sport or something that you do. It could be your work, or it could be, being a mum or a dad or whatever, it's taking that part of you, and that's your big version of yourself. So in my case, Big Claire. And then with that energy, excuse me, my sore throat. With that energy, you're going to take that big version of yourself and say in your mind or out loud, whatever you feel comfortable with, I'm with you in your pain, or I'm with you in your sadness or your loneliness or your frustration, to that smaller version of yourself. And it's not like you're splitting yourself into two. This is all happening within inside you. And it's really just about, this is what people talk about when they're reparenting or nurturing those wounds. And just do a little bit at a time. Do a little bit the first time round. And then the next time you can maybe do a bit more. And the more you do it, the more that kind of the loud negative voices, start to become a bit smaller, and the more positive your big version of yourself becomes bigger. you just really want to tune into yourself and really want to feel that kind of, that sad bit, or that upset, frightened, angry, lonely, jealous, victim energy, whatever it is. And just be with it and really empathize with it for a bit, just for a few minutes. And, you can just tune into it now for a moment, really, and we can just practice it together. And it's just, you've got the big version of yourself tuning into that energy, just when you know that your shoulders are back and wide and your heart's open, and you know when you feel that good. And then you can, at the same time, because we can feel more than one thing at a time, and you can just say to yourself, I'm with you in your sadness, I'm with you in your pain, or I'm with you in your loneliness, I'm with you in your frustration. And just kind of notice how that feels. As you're just really being with and comforting that smaller part of you, maybe a more childlike part of you, or a person that just couldn't deal with a situation at the time and just really needed some support, but was perhaps having to be really strong and brave for everybody else around them. And actually now we're just focusing on that person. It could be a very small child, it could be an adult, be a teenager, it could, whatever, and you're just being with that, and you're paying it some attention. Just see if you start to feel any slight movement, even if it's just a slight releasing. And if you start to feel that, then that's kind of like the first step, because this is a very gentle process. And I just felt like quite a nice wave of energy. It wasn't a huge one, it was just very gentle, and it almost made me want to smile, because that kind of little sad part inside of me was feeling a little bit taken care of and listened to, heard, seen. Being seen and being heard are really, really important things. Excuse me. And just be with that for a couple of minutes or a few minutes, until you feel comfortable, until you feel like you've tuned into it a little bit, and then you can come out of it. And this is really just about a learning process. This is just about learning how to tune into those negative feelings, but not let them overwhelm us, because we want to take that confident, big part of ourselves and be able to meet that, less confident, worried, doubting part of ourselves, and tell them that we hear everything they say, we see them, and we're just going to be there with them in those feelings. And then if we can do a little bit of that, maybe every day, or you can do it as often as you want. You can do it several times a day if you want, just when you get a moment, tune into it and give it a bit of love. And, over time that can start to, get under the skin. You've got to get into those emotions and those kind of inner blocks. And you can't just paper over them, put a Band-Aid on them or whatever. You've got to hear them and meet them and see them and sort of nurture them a little bit and show them some love. And then once you start to do that, you can start to feel them shifting. And once you start to feel them shifting and moving, and just a little bit of movement in there, then you know exactly where they are. And when you feel that feeling, whatever it is, in me it's a knot at my solar plexus, you know what it is. It's like, oh, okay, that's that self-doubt again. That's that negative self-belief. Okay, I'm just gonna take a couple of minutes. I'm just gonna breathe. I'm gonna feel into it. I'm gonna feel that feeling, but I'm also gonna, reparent it, show it some love, take care of it a little bit. So that's all I wanted to say for today. I'm sure I'll have more to say on this topic and more videos. There are some meditations on the channel, so do please, watch them if they're helpful, or there's lots of other resources online. I'm going to cough again. And let me know if you have something you'd like me to address. This came in as a request, And you know, which was great, which was really great to hear. And you know, I would love to talk about anything else that people want to hear about. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.